I've been good, man. Taking care of the family.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might come back. We'll see.
Been offered anything?
Let me see. Off anything like what?
Like a fight.
I mean, I get offered stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Fights, shoes, job. I don't know. We'll see.
Charlo, and then I'll have Errol Spence.
So Errol Spence at 154, maybe 12 months from now.
Yeah, if he wants to come to the big boy division, then yeah.
It's time for him to let boxing go. That's my opinion. I don't want to see him get in the ring and at a higher weight, and it's been so long, and the ring rust and the accident, the injuries. I think he should stay on his ranch, enjoy what he has gotten.
Errol Spence Jr. is back in the gym, rebuilding, refocused, and chasing redemption after the toughest loss of his career. With Tim Tszyu waiting and big questions still unanswered, this comeback could define everything. After injuries, layoffs, and a new voice in his corner, does Spence still have what it takes to compete at the elite level? Is this the start of a legendary return or the final chapter? Before we break it all down, tell me, which city are you watching from?
Hey, man, we working, man. We working, man. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't wake me up from a run.
Nah, bro. Nah. Hey, going on vacation, I bring you a running.
Errol Spence Jr. breaks his silence before stepping back into the ring against Tim Tszyu, displaying strong focus, hard training, and clear determination for a dominant return in 2026.
And so it was for me to help him realize that. That was pretty crazy. For him to come back in the gym and me to be holding mitts and be looking at him, you know, you can't believe it. I think it's like the biggest comeback in professional sports. If you don't believe in yourself, why should I? And he believes in himself 1,000.
Errol Spence Jr. aims to return in 2026, dismissing retirement rumors with a comeback bout.
People on social media say if I come back, I'll be the shell of myself. You know, if he comes back, you know, but he probably not gonna come back and damage. I just, you know, use it all as fuel. Some people can use it all and be not motivated and be like, and let that knock them down. I use it as fuel. I use it as motivation.
Errol Spence Jr. shared that following his defeat against Terence Crawford, many people tried to stop him from coming back to the ring, but he refused to let doubt shape his career.
What do you see there in Spence that makes you feel that, hey, you know what, I think I can take this guy?
It's a fight that wakes me up, you know? Wakes me up. You know those fights that you'd be like a challenge? Like the Tony Harrison fight for me was like alright, I've got to wake up. This is the fight. And it brings something different in your brain, in your body. You learn more about yourself. You just become a different person, a different animal. And that's another fight that will bring in a different animal in.
Tim Tszyu admits this matchup has lit a fire under him. Unlike his previous fights, he says he'll step into the ring as a completely different force when he takes on Errol Spence Jr.
Errol hasn't been busy. He's sort of needs a comeback fight himself. Tim needs a little bit of a comeback himself. He just had a small win over Velasquez. He's going to keep trying to work his way back in. So you look at the fight on paper and you think this is a sellable, marketable fight, and you know, between two guys who need to work their way back in, and you know, the winner is two big names, so the winner obviously creates a real drawing power to himself again and works their way probably into a...
Pauli Malignaggi believes Tim Tszyu needs a comeback of his own, describing this matchup as a highly marketable fight that connects strongly with both fighters' storylines.
Every time he posts on like social media, he looks like he's in like terrific shape. Looks like he took those last 2.5 years to really just get it, like his body right, maybe his mind right, whatever. Do you think we could see another run from Spence at 54?
honestly, this is only my opinion, nephew. You know how I am. I don't want to see Spence back in the ring. I think he went through so much with everything, the accidents and everything. It's time for him to let boxing go. That's my opinion. I don't want to see him get in the ring and at a higher weight, and it's been so long, and the ring rust and the accident, the injuries. I think he should stay on his ranch, enjoy what he has gotten, be a cowboy cattleman, and call it.
Andre Rozier feels Errol Spence should not come back, pointing to his injuries, past accidents, and the overall wear on his career. In his view, the danger outweighs the reward, even considering Spence's recovery.
But how, I mean, I assume it's got to be difficult for a guy of his stature and, going out the way he did. I'm pretty sure he wants to get that get back and kind of show at least, I do have a little bit left in the tank.
Well, it could be, but I'm just saying from the perspective of an individual, an athlete that has gone through so many trials and tribulations, I think at this point in time, it's not going to help him. If he wants to get a win and then call it a day, I could co-sign to that. But for him to think he's going to relaunch his career, especially at 54, I think that's not a good idea.
I don't want to see Spence return to the ring, Rozier said, emphasizing that the former champion should embrace life outside boxing, maybe spending time on his ranch instead of pursuing another campaign at 154 pounds. He expressed concerns about ring rust, the risks of competing in a heavier division, and the chance of more damage. Even so, Rozier understands how hard it is to step away. For a fighter with Spence's reputation, the urge to come back and show there's still something left is strong. But Rozier's message remains firm. If Spence does fight again, it should be one final appearance, not the start of a new chapter in his career.
Just last one before I let you go. A man that you have obviously fought, there was reports last night that apparently he'll be returning in the summer, Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu. I mean, what do you make of that return? Obviously 3 years at the ring for himself. Just what do you make of his return?
I'm excited as well. I wish that I would have fought, him back in the day, but, it's exciting. I met Tim Tszyu when I was in Australia, and it'll be interesting to see them two meet and lock on. So, I'll be watching that, and I'll be excited to see, the winners. You never know. I could find.
Kell Brook gave his honest opinion on the upcoming showdown between Errol Spence Jr. and Tim Tszyu, calling it a thrilling and hard-to-predict matchup. Brook pointed out that both men have different strengths, which makes the fight very competitive. He feels Spence still possesses the skill, ring IQ, and experience to compete at a high level, even after being away from boxing for some time. At the same time, Tszyu's constant pressure and strong desire to prove himself could cause real challenges. In Brook's view, their styles match up in a way that should create exciting rounds and keep fans fully involved. For him, this is definitely a must-watch fight.
2 and 2 makes 4, right? You use your common sense. The Tim is a PBC guy in the States. These guys are PBC guys. You look for the correct possible matchup at this stage in their careers. It starts to make sense, So, you don't
see it.
How do I see it? I don't know. I mean, Spence hasn't fought in decades. Feels like even Charlo. So I don't know. How do you know what's left out of those guys mentally, physically? You don't know. Obviously with Tim, there's a lot of question marks. He just come back with a win, but at least Tim is trying to stay busy and active. With those guys, it's hard to say. You haven't seen them. You don't know how their training's going, if their training is even going, and how they are mentally and physically at this point in their life and their careers.
Tim's team copped a lot of criticism, his old team, should I say, about walking him into people like Fundora on short notice, or Murtazalayev unknown, or taking a rehydration clause on the IBF, and things like that.
Oli Malignaggi offered a measured and careful opinion on a possible fight between Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence Jr. He explained that Tim fights under the PBC banner in the United States, and many big matchups are made within the same promotional group. From a business standpoint, the fight makes sense at this point in their careers. Still, Paulie admitted there are plenty of question marks. Spence has been out of action for quite some time, and it almost feels like he hasn't competed in years. Because of that long layoff, no one really knows how much he has left, either mentally or physically.
I mean, yeah, speak about him sitting on, but is it not just rewriting the books again?
With Spence, you don't know what's left. You know, he's not looked very good, so it might be one of those cases where you're catching him at the right time. But then again, Spence may feel that about Tszyu as well, right?
Yeah.
You might catch him at the right time. It's one of those things where the matchup makes sense because both guys might be catching one another at the right time. But you're gonna get a winner out of the fight, and the winner can, you know, move on to possibly a title fight. You know, as far as the criticism for Tim and his team, there's going to be a lot of opinions, but the person that has skated the most criticism, that deserves the most criticism, is the ringside doctor.
Lignagi also noted that Tszyu comes with his own doubts, although he has remained active and recently picked up a victory. He explained that long layoffs make it difficult to measure a fighter's sharpness, preparation, and mental state. He also referenced earlier criticism of Tim's previous team for making questionable choices. In the end, Paulie said putting him directly in with Spence brings real uncertainty, since neither fighter feels completely predictable at this moment.
And it looks like he is back training, which I'll get into in a second. You know what? I'll just show you right now. Why wait? I mean, why should we wait? So, right off rip, this is a video from Iran, the Junkyard Dog Peterson. He is a fighter out of Philly. Terrible jump. Beautiful jump, right? If some people are like, what do you mean, beautiful John? What is it? Like, so, some of you guys, you don't know what I'm talking about. You got to be on Instagram. That's where I've seen it, right? You got to know. If you know, you know. And he looking in shape. So we'll play the video. It's not much to it. And I can't play the music for copyright reasons. But you see them conversating. And when you look at Errol Spence, pause, you can see he got like a little bit of sheen, like sweat, like he did some form of a workout. And the caption read like, "Till next time, my ninja," from Iran. So many people believe that the two sparred. That's just what it is. Now, if you know boxing, or if you don't know, I'll tell you, Ron has sparred with great...
Analysts have observed that Errol Spence Jr. seems to be back in the gym, quietly getting ready for a meaningful comeback. Rather than waiting on formal updates, the video evidence tells its own story. A brief clip posted by Iran Junkyard Dog Peterson in Philadelphia shows Spence calm yet locked in at the gym. The two speak casually as the camera records. Spence has one hand wrapped and appears lean, focused, and in shape. His arms look toned with a slight layer of sweat, hinting that he just wrapped up a session. The scene feels natural, giving viewers confidence that training is underway and steady progress is being made.
What I'm telling you is this, Earl. You can listen to me or not. I remember we had a chance to buy up the metropolis, the Dallas metropolis, when you was on top of the world. You said call me. I called you. Nothing happened. But that's besides the point. I know you got a lot of money. I know you got your farm, your what they call it? Probably got the zoo by now, right? But here's the reality of this thing. If you fight Tim Tszyu for $2 to $3 million, listen to what I'm saying. This is what Vegas is telling me. If you fight Tim Tszyu and have to go to Australia, you've destroyed your brand. Literally destroyed your brand. Why did you destroy your brand? Because they need to come to Dallas to fight you so you get all the money. Do you understand? You gotta rebuild yourself. You don't go chasing dollars when you can spend the next 3 or 4 years building your brand.
Errol Spence Jr. was recently seen in Philadelphia working on his craft as he gears up for a potential clash with Tim Tszyu. The video captures Spence calm but fully locked in, carrying the poise of a fighter rebuilding after tough moments. Those watching pointed out his slim physique, sculpted arms, and visible sweat, all signs that serious training is already in progress.
Who the third fight can be Keith Thurman. The third fight can be Fondora. The third fight can be whoever you want it to be. But you will not have any market value going to Australia and getting a guaranteed purse. You need to bet on yourself. Fight somebody who's 27-3, never been knocked out, 14 knockouts, and has been in the ring with a champion. That's what you need to do at 154. But what do I know? I'm crazy, I'm delusional, and yet I'm the one who's right. I end up being right every time.
Away from the spotlight, conversations continue about the financial side of this matchup. Some have cautioned that heading to Australia for a $2 to $3 million payday might hurt Spence's brand, suggesting Dallas or Las Vegas would be better options to grow revenue and restore momentum. The guidance is simple: compete at home first, then expand with a clear plan. Even so, the workout footage carries more weight than the rumors. Spence appears focused, disciplined, and determined to show he still has plenty left. Whether it happens in Dallas, Vegas, or overseas, his comeback path is now underway. Who?
Errol Spence should stay out of boxing. My concern is definitely not Tim Tszyu. In my humble opinion, I know if he comes back to the ring, he's going to wash him. But what it is he going to continue right after that fight? Is he going to proceed facing elite fighters at 154? Fondora, who is a 154-pound champion. Boots Ennis. Virgil Ortiz, does he still have that championship mentality? Mind you guys, he's coming off of a 3-year layoff, especially coming off of a devastating loss with Crawford. And to add salt to the wound, the whole car accident thing, which a lot of people want to use as an excuse for the Crawford fight.
I also agree too.
This is far from a simple fight to accept, especially for a boxer returning after almost 3 years away. Errol Spence Jr. has not stepped into the ring since his matchup with Terence Crawford, where he endured a dominant defeat that sparked real concerns about his level and physical state. Extended breaks can impact rhythm, precision, and self-belief under the lights. Going straight into battle with a determined and aggressive opponent like Tim Tszyu is a major gamble. Rather than taking a softer comeback bout, Spence seems prepared to test himself against a serious threat right away. That move reflects both bravery and strong confidence in his abilities.
We were hearing the rumblings of a Fondora. When I think fighters get to a point where they want this, but they haven't been performing there. And I think that might be the case with Errol Spence Jr. Certainly was the case in my opinion, with Keith Thurman and also with Danny Garcia. I feel, even though they did battle injuries, I felt another big part of that was they wanted big pay against lower opponent. They didn't want to come back and get big pay against a big opponent. It's a part of the game. And I got a feeling that that's what Errol's looking at right now. I think Errol's looking at how can I, get the money that I'm used to getting. And, for the sake of words, he's got to get his feet wet again. He's got to see how he feels in, game night.
Sean Porter recently gave his view on Errol Spence Jr.'s possible return, saying that some fighters reach a point where they chase major fights and big purses, even if their performances no longer match that level. Porter compared Spence's position to fighters like Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, who dealt with injuries but still pursued headline matchups without first proving themselves against elite competition again. He suggested Spence might be thinking along similar lines, aiming to earn the kind of money he's accustomed to, while also seeing how he responds once the lights are on and the bell rings.
So it's a lot of things lingering right now with Errol. I'm not sure if he makes a comeback. This, unfortunately, is the one thing that I do know Most fighters walk away until they have to come back, and usually it's the finance situation that brings them back. Certainly hope that doesn't end up being the case with Errol. If I had to bet on it right now, I would bet that Errol makes a comeback. I would bet that Errol makes a comeback because what we saw from him in his last match against Terence Crawford, that was just how that fight went. But at the end of the day, and we can tell by how he kept getting up, that ain't who he is. And he ain't going out like that. So that being said, I guess I said a whole lot. Yeah, Errol comes back. If Errol don't come back, then that, to me, that means he's good with where he's at. And like I always say, if you good, I'm good.
Porter also highlighted ongoing concerns, such as Spence not having a confirmed trainer and the doubts about whether he is fully prepared. Even so, he acknowledged that money can be a powerful reason for fighters to return. Despite the questions, Porter said he would still put his money on Spence coming back, noting that the way Spence continued to rise after being dropped by Terence Crawford showed real toughness. He's not ending his career like that. Porter finished
coming off of a terrible loss, bad loss, physical damage to Terence Crawford, the biggest fight of his career for Undisputed. So he got dropped 3 times in a fight for the first time in his career. Being on the canvas, he got dropped 3 times. Then the first loss of his career. Then he don't have the only trainer he knew in his entire career. On top of that, he suffered that horrific car accident. He had the multiple eye surgeries, right? Just a lot of physical damage and unknown with Errol Spence. And now Errol Spence has brought in a legend, an icon, Hall of Famer in Roy Jones Jr., who can be considered in the eyes of many as the greatest fighter in boxing. As a trainer, and Roy Jones is saying he's in Dallas today, see how Errol Spence responds, see what he has left in the tank, see what his abilities can be, and what has he lost and what has he not lost, right? So there's a lot they're gauging today to see, if it's a good fit that they work together, right? Now, Roy Jones is a fighter who fought in a style and a manner in which just can't be taught. It can't be taught, right? And Roy Jones as a trainer, no slight of disrespect, has not been very successful at the highest level as a trainer, right? We just haven't seen.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.